Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you all today. Good morning to those who are gathered here in the sanctuary and to all who are joining us online today. We begin this morning with a musical prelude from our guest musician, Alex Suh. Thank you, Alex. I imagine some of you remember when Alex joined us last year, about a year ago, I think. And I think it's not an exaggeration to say that his playing pretty much brought the house down. So, and I'm happy to share that Alex will be playing an extended postlude at the end of the service. So I strongly encourage you to remain seated because it was amazing last year. So, and of course, Alex is over there like, why are you putting so much pressure on me, Reverend? So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Reverend Tim Temerson. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm pleased to be leading worship this morning with our guest musician, Alex Suh. Some of you may remember, of course, that Alex was here last year, and he is amazing. The sanctuary was built over 70 years ago on the homeland of the Monacan people and was once cared for by enslaved people from Africa and their descendants. We honor all who have dwelt here and all in our congregation whose lives led to this moment of our gathering. I invite us now to take a moment to greet others. Those online may unmute and say hello. Those here in the sanctuary or social hall are welcome to greet your neighbors, especially those you may not know.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Yeah. Yes, at last.
But getting very hot out there. I've already been out walking and man, you don't want to be out much longer.
Oh dear. I plan on gardening this afternoon.
A what?
I plan on gardening this afternoon.
You better wait until after 5 or 6.
I don't actually mind the heat. I do mind the ticks.
Yes, be careful.
Lots of them this year.
They're awful.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bad.
I had 12 on me the last time I gardened.
Oh my gosh.
no.
Yes.
But
Do you use some kind of repellent?
no, I didn't. I was anxious to
We
get out.
offer a special welcome to newcomers and invite you to join us for fellowship after the service in the social hall. Please feel free to use one of our red coffee mugs, which are for newcomers, and you UCville members and friends are reminded to offer a warm welcome to anyone with a red mug. We also invite newcomers to stop by the connections table near the monitor in the social hall to learn more about us. Seating is available in the social hall where there is a live stream of the service going on. Of course, everyone is welcome in here, but if you need a roomier space, the social hall can be a good option. Many thanks to all the folks helping us share worship both here and online, the greeters, the ushers, the hospitality and popcorn brigade, the logistics team, and of course, special thanks to the fabulous Rachel Buckland supporting the dual platform worship both online and here on Rugby Road. And now we have greetings from board member Chris Little.
Good morning, everyone. In addition to being a board member, I am a member of the Long Range Planning Task Force, which has been working diligently over the last few months to bring together a preliminary draft of a strategic plan with a lot of input from many of you. And now we want more input from you. So we received feedback on the mission process from last year, where people said towards the end, we'd like to have a few more iterations where there is interaction between, the committee, our task force, and the congregation. So today, for this service, we will be presenting again a preliminary draft of the plan and are very eager to get your input to continue to inform it so that by the time it comes to a vote, you will have had your eyes on it a fair bit and your voices will have shaped it quite a bit. So we're looking forward to your participation after the service, if you can be here, and also, over the next month or so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. So here are our announcements. And as Chris was saying, there will be a gathering right here in the sanctuary after the service, a few minutes after the service. So go get your coffee and popcorn. And for those of you online, we will keep the Zoom session going. So you are invited to join us for that and to participate as well. And so again, grab your snacks and come on back in here around 12:30. The Children and Youth Religious Education Program invites you to, if you were in a mulching mood, to pitch in and help spread mulch on the playground immediately after the service. Spreading the mulch will help keep our children safe and provide us all an opportunity to engage in a community-wide multi-generational event. We will have shovels, wheelbarrows, gloves, and pizza. That sounds pretty good. And water. Parents can pick up their children on the playground at 12:15, as the children will already be out there helping prepare for the mulching. There's also going on a Young Religious Unitarian Universalist fundraiser, selling the attraction coupon booklets at a discount for $20. The regular price is $30, but we've decided to discount them. Buy one for yourself and for a friend. You can easily recoup the price of the booklets by dining at several of your favorite restaurants or services, and proceeds support the youth service trip to Appalachia. Look for Margaret and Michael Gorman in the social hall after the service. And then, boy, there's a lot going on with children and youth. On Sunday, May the 12th, there's going to be a fundraising lunch, yum, to again support the youth who are going on to the Appalachian Service Project. The menu will be delicious soup, salad, bread, all for $7.50. You can't beat that price. Avoid the long lines and advance reservations and honor mothers. Oh, that's right, it's Mother's Day. By supporting the congregation's youth in their commitments to act in love, compassion, and justice. Next Saturday, May the 4th, it is May the 4th, right? Yeah, May the 4th be with you, right? So from 3 to 5 p.m., there will be the UU Congregation of Charlottesville's spring auction and picnic. The catalog of all these wonderful items that are available to bid on. You can find it on the church website. So by all means, please do go to the website. There's some amazing dinners and events and adventures and all kinds of cool stuff. So take a look at all those wonderful items and then come and join us next Saturday for a picnic and a silent auction from 3 to 5. Also, after the service today, the book Mealtime Graces called Words of Thanks will be on sale in the social hall after the service. If you have not purchased a copy yet, you really, really should. It was written and created by folks in this community. It's a wonderful, wonderful booklet and collection of spiritual words. So please do purchase one after the service. Quick thanks to all who attended and helped out with the new member and friends class yesterday. We had a wonderful turnout and we welcomed 3 new members to our congregation. So that's wonderful. And finally, of course, join us for coffee and conversation in the social hall, mulching, long-range planning. There's so much going on. So we're going to begin this morning with a call to worship from Charles Thomas. Rooting ourselves in love as the source of all we are, let us love. Acknowledging every person and all of nature as unique, important, and wanted, let us love. Learning that we are not whole until all beings are whole, let us love. Sharing and relating with one another as each feels comfortable, let us love. Working to be anti-racist and opposing every oppression, let us love. Drawing nearer to beloved community on this beautiful planet that is our home, let us love. As our service begins, I'd like to invite the Davis family to light the flame of our chalice this morning. And as they light the chalice, I invite you to join me in saying our unison chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life that we share together. And now let's do our hand motions. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open minds. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving hearts. Thank you, Davis family. Now I'd like to invite you to rise in body or spirit. Let's join in singing our opening hymn. It's number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. The lyrics will be on the screen, and it's also can be found in the gray hymnal. Please rise. You may be seated. So I'd like to invite our children, those who are young at heart, who'd like to come on down, and I want to tell you a little bit about a famous Unitarian Universalist who I think was pretty wonderful. And I want to tell you a little bit about her. So come on down. Have a seat. Everybody's welcome. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming to church today on a really, really pretty nice day outside. I hope you get a chance to get out after the service and maybe do a little mulching or just enjoy this beautiful, beautiful weather today. So, today in the service, I'm going to be talking a little bit, or actually a lot of bit, about love. Love, something we talk a lot about in our congregation, the UU congregation of Charlottesville. So let me begin by asking you an interesting question. Who can tell me what love is? Yes. Caring for others when they need love. Nice, nice. Anyone else want to take a shot at it? Yes, Gigi.
Giving love to other people.
Giving what?
Giving love to other
Giving love to other people. Right. So let's see, we have caring for other people, giving love to other people. So it seems like love is something that you do, right? That's what I'm hearing from you all. It's about caring and it's about giving. So I think that's really, really, really wonderful. Well, the person I want to tell you about today is somebody I'm guessing none of you have heard of, and probably most in the congregation haven't, because she lived a long time ago, but she was someone who believed passionately in the importance of love. And she was a Universalist. And, you know, we're a Unitarian Universalist, but at one time there were Unitarians and there were Universalists. And she was a Universalist, and Universalists are all about believing in love and the importance of love. And this person's name was Mary Livermore, and there's a picture of her. That's a drawing of her, of course, from a long time ago. And she lived in the 1800s, and she grew up, what's that? Never mind. Okay. I thought maybe you knew more about her, the details of when she was born than I did, but that would be really great. So she lived in the 1800s, and she went on to be a really famous person in her day. She was a teacher, she was a writer, she was one of the great speakers of her time. She would go all around the country and give speeches, and hundreds and sometimes even thousands of people would come out to hear her speak. And she especially talked a lot in the last years of her life about the rights of women. And she worked very hard to make sure that women would eventually be able to have the right to vote, which of course they do. So she did such a good job at that. But I want to tell you a story from when she was a younger person, a younger woman, because when she was young, Mary had a happy childhood, but she went through a time when she was feeling kind of sad, where she had spent some time as a teacher in a part of the country where people were enslaved, and that made her feel very sad because she believed in God and believed in love, and yet she saw a world that seemed to be filled with things that weren't very loving, and it made her sad. And the church that she had grown up in, she was not born a Universalist, and that church didn't really offer her much help. In fact, sometimes the minister would give messages that didn't feel very loving, even sometimes felt a little scary. So she stopped going to church, and she just felt very, very alone. Then she eventually got a teaching job in another place, and she really wanted to try to go back to church, but she was afraid. And she thought, I don't know if the people there are gonna welcome me, if I'm gonna feel scared. She was nervous. But one day she decided to try this little church of this religion that not a lot of people had heard of, called Universalism. And in the story of her life, here's the drawing of her standing. It's kind of like standing at the front door of the church look, she looks kind of nervous, doesn't she? Should I go in? What are they going to do? Are they going to give me scary messages and make me feel even sadder? Well, she decided to go in because she heard singing. And the singing sounded so happy and so joyful. And she was like, well, these people, they seem like they really do love each other and really care about one another and about life. They just seem so happy. So she came in and everyone was so warm and welcoming, and they all just told her how much they loved her and were so happy that she was there. And she heard the minister give a talk, and it was all about love and about how life is about loving each other, like you all said. And from that moment on, her life was changed because that church and Universalism helped her realize that life really is about love, even though sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And that changed her life. And she went on to do all those wonderful things that I told you about earlier. So that's my message today, is that we are a community, we are a religious tradition that is really all about love. But we're not just about feeling love, we're about living it and taking it out into the world and sharing it with one another. So, well, thank you all very much for listening today. And I believe you are on your way to children's worship in the parlor. So can we now join in singing our children out? Play that little song. Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Just like that little Universalist church in Massachusetts that Mary Livermore walked into. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Friends, we are an interconnected community that cares for one another, and part of how we embody this care is by making time each week to share the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts. As is our practice, you are now invited to come forward and place a glass stone in the communal bowl of water as a symbolic act of each being held by the larger love that holds us all. Those online may type their joy or sorrows into the chat. Patty Wallens from our pastoral care team will also come forward to help hold the space. Patty will be available for a few minutes after the service in the back corner of the sanctuary. If you are in need of pastoral support or just need someone to listen. Those worshiping online can contact the pastoral care team at pastoral@uucharlottesville.org. So now let us now begin our ritual. Our first reading this morning is meditation that I've shared with you before. Now I will undoubtedly share again. It's from my ministerial inspiration and mentor, Reverend Robbie Walsh. It's also the best and most poetic reflection on the meaning of universalism that I've ever come across, although I'm biased. It's called Tucked In. On a quiet street, just as it was getting dark, I saw a car pull into a driveway, and then the silhouette of a man walking from the car to the front door of the house, carrying a sleeping child. The child's head lay on the man's shoulder, their arms and legs dangling like the limbs of a puppet. They went to the door and into the house, and my imagination filled in the rest of the story. My mind went back 25 years to a time when I was that dad, pulling into our driveway and finding one or more of my kids sleeping so soundly that even carrying them in and dressing them for bed did not disturb their slumber. And then my mind went back 50 years to when I was that child, and I remembered how safe I felt in the darkening back seat. I could put my head down, trusting that nothing bad would happen. And then I would wake up in bed thinking, how did I get here? And I realized that my parents had carried me from the car, put me in bed, and tucked me in. The early Universalists believed that the fate of a human being is like that. No matter how rough the trip might have been, or how badly you might have behaved, at the end you would come home, and it would be a place of trust, safety, and love. 200 years ago, people were amazed to hear that message because most churches told them that at the end of their journey, they were more likely to face punishment, not love. So is the ultimate truth that our souls will be taken care of in the way a loving parent takes care of a child? No. Certainly, much of life is not like that. I have no answers to ultimate questions, but I do have some partial truths. Here is one. There is love in this world. There is trust, and there are places of safety where a person can lay down their head for a while. The world is not always like this, but I'm absolutely certain the world is partially a place of love. And wherever that love comes from, it is manifested in this world by us, human beings. We are the agents of that love. Tucked In by Robbie Walsh. Friends, this community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we share our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. For the month of April, and this is the final Sunday in April, our social action collection is being taken for the Blue Ridge Abortion Fund. Funding abortion is community care, and BRAF, as it's known as, has been providing financial support to people requiring that care for almost 34 years, and they are still providing financial and logistical support to Virginians and those traveling to Virginia for an abortion. BRAF provides an extraordinary $20,000 each week in funding at a time of crisis for abortion access since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This is what it looks like to care for each other. Rachel, you are already showing us, thank you, the social action slide for giving for those who would like to make a donation right now. In addition to following the instructions and giving online, if you'd like to give today with cash or check, there are social action collection envelopes scattered about the sanctuary. Just place your offering in that envelope and then drop it in the collection plates as they go by. Along with our social action collection, each week we invite everyone into the spiritual practice of generosity by giving to the ministry of our congregation. Through your pledges and with the weekly Sunday morning offering, together, our financial gifts and support sustain this congregation. This is our shared ministry. During the music that follows, you can choose to make your Sunday morning offering by using the text address behind me or going to our website. Here in the sanctuary, you can place cash or checks in the offering plates as they are passed. Let us now dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, we accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good. Thank you, Alex. You know, as I listen to Alex play, sometimes I forget where I am and that I'm on too. So, so our second reading is one I haven't shared with you before. It's called Fourth and Walnut. And it's by the Catholic Trappist monk, Thomas Merton. And got a couple of pictures that Rachel will put up on the screen as well. This is what Merton says. While walking one day in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, at the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of the shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people, that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another, even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness, of spurious self-isolation. It was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depths of their hearts where neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach, the core of their reality, the person that each one is in God's eyes. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. But this cannot be seen, only believed and understood through a peculiar gift. 4th and Walnut by Thomas Merton. Some years ago, I was attending the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly in Louisville, and I was familiar with this reading, but hadn't really thought, oh, I should go visit 4th and Walnut, and then I kind of stumbled across it. And I saw, oh, you took it down, that's okay, that marker that said, this is the place where, yeah, that one, a revelation, where Thomas Merton had this incredible moment of awakening and realization. And I wish I could tell you that I, paused for a minute, looked around at all the folks, and had a similar realization. But I was hungry and it was lunchtime, so, oh well. Yeah, exactly, priorities. So, so I just thank you all again for being here today. Welcome to all who are online. Let me begin this morning by thanking Tom Olszewski sitting out there. Tom, raise your hand real quick for those who don't know you. Like, why is Tom getting all this shouting out today? So Tom, last fall, at the fall auction, I put a sermon topic up for auction. And Tom was blessed, cursed, I don't know, to have won the auction. I understand that there was a bit of a bidding war and that Tom ended up paying a pretty generous price for the sermon. So Tom, let me simply say that I'm feeling the pressure. I hope that what I have to say at least approximates your hopes and expectations. And I'm certainly hoping that on the drive home with Jackie today, you don't turn to her and go, I think I ought to get my money back. So, so let me also say what a joy it was to be with so many folks who are new to our congregation at yesterday's New Members and Friends class. We had about 14 or 15 people there, which was wonderful. And I have to say that teaching those classes, being with people who are new to our tradition, is absolutely one of the favorite things of mine about being a UU minister. And it always, always invariably takes me back to that time a little over 25 years ago when I and my family found Unitarian Universalism. I can still remember signing the membership book, and it's so touching for me that the minister who was there to welcome me and witness me signing that book was none other than Robbie Walsh, who wrote Tucked In that I shared earlier. There is so much about being a UU that has enriched my life, and I can only hope that those who come through our doors find in this faith and in this congregation a community where they always feel welcomed, cherished, and loved. So speaking of love and feeling loved, Tom's assignment for today's sermon is all about love. More specifically, Tom invited me to reflect on the fact that in many religious traditions, including Unitarian Universalism, God is defined as or understood as love. God is love, right? You've heard that before. Tom also pointed out that in Jewish and Christian traditions, and especially in the Christian Gospels, Jesus articulates what we oftentimes have called the Great Commandment, which is to love God with our whole being, heart, mind, and soul, and of course, our neighbor as ourselves. So the question that Tom posed is simply this: if God is love, and we are called to love God with our whole being, what does that look like? Or as Tom put it, what does it look like, or what does it mean to love love? What difference might loving love make in our lives and how we choose to live? Now, as you can probably tell, whenever I think about God as love, love in a religious context, I always begin here in Unitarian Universalism, and with that reading from my mentor, Robbie Walsh. As I said when I was talking to the kids about the great Mary Livermore, our Universalist forebears viewed God as a loving parent who welcomes all people, no matter who they are, where they come from, how they have lived, or what they believe. The God of Universalism is compassionate, understanding, kind. The God of Universalism is a God of boundless and unconditional love, a love that transcends all the categories and divisions that separate the human family, into us versus them, friend versus enemy, saved versus condemned. In Universalism, no one is beyond God's love, and all people have someone to carry them inside at the end of a long day's journey and gently tuck them into bed. Now, as Robbie said in his meditation, that was radical stuff. In fact, in some ways, it's still radical stuff. I think when you think about some of the hurtful images and ways that the divine is understood, but certainly in the late 1700s and the early 1800s, it was pretty radical, pretty unusual. This was a time when, in this country where Universalism really got its start, Calvinism was the predominant theological orientation. And the God of Calvinism is a God who judges, condemns, picks winners and losers. Doesn't feel very loving. The Universalists were just like, yeah, that's wrong. That's just not who God is. I told the class yesterday that Universalism got its earliest start. It was really a condemnation of the whole concept of hell. In fact, I told the class, I said, the person who's credited with founding Universalism actually didn't call it Universalism, he called it no-hellism. And I half-jokingly said, that might not be a bad banner on the front of the sanctuary out there facing Rugby Road. This is the Congregation of No-Hellism. I don't know. Might work. So now, of course, over time, the understanding of God in Unitarian Universalism is diverse, I should probably say. Belief in a personal God or gods has, in this day and age, become a matter of choice rather than dogma. in Unitarian Universalism. Today, we invite you to search and explore, but we leave your personal beliefs about ultimate questions like the existence and nature of the divine, we leave that up to you. But what hasn't changed and will never change in Unitarian Universalism is our affirmation of the transforming and life-enriching power of love. A love whose origins, as Robbie Walsh says, may ultimately be uncertain or a mystery, but a love that most assuredly dwells in us and among us. A love that holds us when we are struggling and that fills our hearts with joy and hope. And much like the God who the early Universalists believed tucked us in at night, the love at the heart of Unitarian Universalism today doesn't divide the human family into all those categories and distinctions. We believe passionately that love is not finite. There isn't just this much love to go around. It needs to be parsed out to the privileged few. There's enough love in the human heart in this world for everyone. Everyone has worth and dignity. Everyone is welcomed and loved. And the longer that I've been a Unitarian Universalist, the more I have come to understand that believing God is love and seeing love at the center of human existence, that makes love so much more than a belief, a feeling, or an emotion. In our tradition, the call to love is a call to action by loving our neighbors with all of our hearts, minds, and spirits. We UUs don't sit back and simply say, yeah, God is love. Ain't that great? Or, I know God loves me. I'm good. Check. Rather, in Unitarian Universalism, loving love with all of our heart, mind, and being leads us to accept and be challenged by and inspired by Dr. King's admonition that human beings need to be guided by a strong, demanding love that is always calling us to be its agents. And that call to love at the heart of Unitarian Universalism leads us to act for justice and peace for all people and for the planet. That love is at the center of this congregation, the UU congregation of Charlottesville. That's what that long-range plan we've been working on all year, that's what it's all about. Putting love into action, living love. So I hope I've made at least some headway in answering Tom's questions about what it means to love love. Tom, let me just say that if I've so far missed the mark, let's have coffee and you can set me straight. So, but let me just conclude this morning by saying a word about the promise of love and what our lives might look and feel like if we truly loved love and put love at the center of our lives. And I have to say that I don't think there's a better observation about what that looks like, what that might look like, than those words from Thomas Merton. One day, as Merton was walking through the streets of downtown Louisville, he had this awakening, this aha moment, this realization that he was surrounded by love, that he was swimming in a sea of love. He knew in that moment that he loved every person walking by him, even though he didn't know any of them. There was something special, something almost sacred, something divine in the faces he encountered and the voices that he heard. They possessed a beauty that they themselves were unaware of, but that Merton witnessed in that blessed moment. He realized, as he says so beautifully, that he belonged to all of these people and they belonged to him. He realized that the separateness and isolation that fills so much of our lives, it is an illusion. And that if we break down those walls that keep us apart, we will see, our eyes will be opened, and we will see that love is there for us, waiting, calling to us, urging us to reach out, to extend a hand, and to offer our love to others. In that brief moment, I believe Merton glimpsed life as it is supposed to be lived, loving love, with love, friendship, and joy. More than anything else, what I think Merton's experience teaches us is that if we simply slow down long enough to see and feel and experience the love that is all around us and that is always calling to us, we will most assuredly live with joy as we love love. And as Merton concludes, what a world this would be if the human family could live into the fullness of the love that is our birthright and that is all around us. There would be no more war, hate, greed, or cruelty. Not that life would be perfect or that all suffering would cease, but as Scripture tells us, I think every tear would be wiped away and every broken heart would be comforted and held. So thank you, my friend, for this wonderful question. And I simply want to leave us with an invitation to awaken as Merton did, to the beauty and blessings of life and love. Take a moment to see love in the face of a neighbor or a stranger, a love that is divine, a love that is calling to us. And when love calls, I hope each and every one of you will say yes to giving and receiving love. As a Unitarian Universalist, I believe with all my heart, that love is why we are here. And love is how we are supposed to live. May love be your guide and bless your life this day and every day. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you. So let's now rise in body or spirit. Alex is going to play hymn number 6 for us, just as long as I have breath. The lyrics will be on the screen. Please rise. Thank you, Alex. A reminder you are invited to remain for the postlude. I know it will be wonderful. Before Alex begins, though, let me offer these closing words, some of my favorites from Frederick Gillis. He says, "May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated. May that boundless and universal love be in us and among us now and always. Friends, be well. Take very good care of yourselves, of each other, and of the world. Let love be your guide. Be open to it, listen for it, and be its agent. There is love for all of us and for the whole world. Blessed be, go in peace. By all means, be seated, and let's enjoy Alex's beautiful music.